there's a lot of natural light.
I'm sort of our basic field.
And I mean, the students also don't.
And all the places where the little creatures live, like because there's so much hallway space that like things, you know.
Yeah, so when there's in space studying armadillos, they have crazy fascinating history, which I was going
I
to
mean, you know, like we're all.
but they're expanding so fast. They'll be in Ohio probably next year.
I'd like to call the December 16th, 2025 Oxford City Council meeting to order. Ms. Barber, you may call the roll.
Miss Ornelas,
Here.
Mr. Snavely,
Here.
Mr. Vinch,
Here.
Mr. Bracken,
Here.
Miss Franklin,
Here.
Miss French,
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here. All right, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd like to join us. All right, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor French, second by Councilor Franklin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will begin with public participation tonight, and we are going to have some recognition of our former councilors. So I am going to read a resolution, and I believe there are gifts. So this is Resolution 7,767, a resolution commending Chantel Ragu for her service to the City of Oxford and its residents. Whereas Chantel Ragu served her first term as a member of the Oxford City Council from November of 2017 to November of 2021, and whereas Chantel Ragu served her second term as a member of the Oxford City Council from 2021 to November of 2025, and presided as vice mayor from November 2021 to November 2025, and whereas during said period, Chantel has given of her time, talents, and energy serving the City of Oxford and its residents faithfully and diligently, and whereas Chantel fulfilled her second term of office on November 24th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oxford, Ohio, Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oxford personally and collectively and on behalf of the government and citizens of the city expresses its deep appreciation and thanks to Chantel Ragu for her faithful and devoted service while serving on the Oxford City Council. And Section 2, that the Clerk of City Council of the City of Oxford is hereby directed and instructed to forward a duly attested and signed copy of this resolution to Chantel. And Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. And this is resolution number 7,768, a resolution commending David Prithridge for his service to the City of Oxford and its residents. Whereas David Prithridge served on his first term as a member of Oxford City Council from November of 2017 to November of 2021. And whereas David Prithridge served his second term as a member of the Oxford City Council from November 2021 to November 2025. And whereas during said period, David has given of his time, talents, and energies serving the City of Oxford and its residents faithfully and diligently. And whereas David fulfilled his second term of office on November 24th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Oxford, Ohio, that the City Council of the City of Oxford personally and collectively on behalf of the government and citizens of the city expresses its deep appreciation and thanks to David Prithridge for its faithful and devoted service while serving on the Oxford City Council. And that the Clerk of the City Council of the City of Oxford, Ohio is hereby directed and instructed to forward a duly attested and signed copy of this resolution to David Prithridge. And Section 3, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Want to say anything? You may if you would like.
No pressure.
You don't have to.
I was gonna try it on because it looks huge, but thank you for the warmth after all the cold Tuesday nights.
Nobody deserves that more.
I know, I'm excited, yeah. No, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna miss y'all, but I know that everyone is doing such a good job, and I think that the most important thing I could say is if someone tells you no, figure out the ways to yes. So, yeah, keep on doing what you're doing and being the example of the city and the state of Ohio. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. It's obviously weird to be on the other side of all this because I've been up there in one capacity or other for a little while. Of course, as I said, like a few weeks ago, it's been such a privilege to work alongside all of you. I feel like the city of Oxford is a team between its elected officials and its appointed officials and staff members and the people. So it's a really amazing thing to be part of. I guess I would echo, it was really super fun to serve along Chantel because I think Chantel and I both had the same general philosophy of kind of like progressivism and activism. And the first part was like, how do you use government to solve social problems? And like, obviously, the city has to provide key social basic services. Like, we need to figure out how to keep the water coming in on a consistent pressure and respond to emergencies. But if it's not the city, who can tackle the social problems? Because ultimately that's what people pay, that's what they elect us for. They pay taxes for to help us solve the gnarly social problems that we have here in our community and beyond. So it's hard to juggle both, to do the basics of like maintaining all those services as hard as they are. I mean, just providing fire services affordably to the city is a huge problem. But the idea that we continue to tackle climate change and housing affordability and snow shoveling and everything else is a testament to the boldness of the city of Oxford and why it takes, the other thing I was thinking about is activism. I think of Chantel as an activist elected to represent, but to stir things up. And I think that the only way we make progress is by stirring things up. So our time is past. We'll of course be around, but I really want to thank you all for continuing to advance the agenda for the people of the city of Oxford, because the city of Oxford's people's goals are pretty big. So it's hard to achieve those things, but I'm confident you guys will keep the ball moving down the field. So thank you for the coat in addition to everything, by the way. Thanks.
All right, now we'll move on to public comments. If you would like to make a comment about something that is not on the agenda or on the consent agenda, please come forward and state your name and address for the record, and we will give you 5 minutes.
Michael Ramsey. I live at 6011 Stillwell Road, but my wife and I have 4 rental properties in Oxford, 625 and 7 South College, 105 West Central, and 314 South May. I'm sorry, it's like being late to the party, but I broke my hip this summer, and I'm just trying to catch up and missed the meetings on the sidewalk resolution as far as cleaning sidewalks. But I think it opens up a whole can of worms. Under Ohio law, the way Ohio looks at it, snow is a natural event. I didn't put it there, you didn't put it there. And if I let it alone and somebody falls, I'm not liable. But if I start cleaning that sidewalk and make it more hazardous and somebody falls, I'm now liable. And when you look at even a homeowner, but especially rental property owners, you get a snow, you clean the sidewalk, now the sidewalk becomes a trench. Like most winter days, in a day or two, the sun comes out, it warms up a little bit, part of it melts, you got water on the sidewalk. Temperature drops overnight, now you got a sheet of ice. So now you've really got a problem, and it's your fault. I mean, it's my fault for it. So now I get up there, I chip off the ice, everything else. That afternoon, melt some more ice. And as the old saying, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. This was tried in 2011. I never quite followed up. In fact, I bought a snow blower because they were going to do this, and I don't know why, but then all at once, it never went through. But I just wish you people would look, you councilmen, at this law, because it throws a lot of liability on people that isn't there to begin with. This city has been, around for 215 years. I've not seen a crisis of hundreds and thousands of people getting injured over the 215 years it's been here. And it just, I was so glad in 2011 when it didn't go through because, like I say, I'm not liable for those sidewalks if I don't touch them. But as soon as I start cleaning them, I'm liable for it. And with the way you structured it with the misdemeanors and this and that, now it's such a law that the courts even view it as negligence. If I clean a sidewalk and I don't quite get it right and somebody falls, I'm negligent because I didn't have that sidewalk completely clean for whatever reason. I mean, you've opened up a whole bag of legal issues for people in this town. And I just wish you could talk it over at the next meeting or something. I've got a packet to give each of you, but I just hate, I'm not against having clean sidewalks, but under Ohio law, you've just stuck all of us with a liability issue we didn't need. And that's all I can say about it. You know, like I say, I apologize for not being here when it was being done, but you fall and break your hip, there ain't much you can do but try and catch up with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey.
Real quick, the back page of this. There's an issue with Ohio University, where Athens has a similar law. Student fell at a bus stop that wasn't quite clean. She sues the university for $3,000 dental expense. And the university took it to court. And again, they were judged negligent because there was a law cleaning the sidewalks. They cleaned everything, but they accidentally overlooked just one bus stop. And they were found guilty of negligence for not obeying the law. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get around.
Is there anyone else who would like to address issues not on the agenda tonight? All right. Seeing none, we will move forward to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the agenda? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor French, second by Councilor Franklin. All right. All in favor of pursuing the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We will move on to resolutions. I will have Ms. Barber read the first resolution.
A resolution adopting the City of Oxford cybersecurity policy as described in Exhibit A in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 9.64, as enacted through Ohio House Bill 96.
Move adoption.
Second?
All right. I will turn it over to Vice Mayor Green. Excuse me, not Vice Mayor. Assistant City Manager.
Got it. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I bring before you our cybersecurity policy. This is in response to House Bill 96, which requires each Ohio political subdivision to pass such a cybersecurity policy. The policy itself is public, and it outlines what we need to do, which is ensure that we have a cybersecurity program, that we have safeguards to protect our data and our resources, and that these programs are aligned with nationally recognized best practices, such as the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the Cybersecurity Framework and the Center for Internet Security and Critical Security Controls. They have acronyms, but that's the long one. And so we have spent several months developing this, and our procedures are not public record, but we do have 3 parts to this cybersecurity program. One is a system security plan, which is prevention. How do we set up our network? How do we ensure we're doing things safe, et cetera, and so on? Do we have contingency plans? Second is an incident response plan. What are you going to do if something happens? So we have a plan now of action of what we'll do and how we're going to do it, and we'll kind of work through that timeline if something should ever happen. And then finally, it makes us identify a cybersecurity team. Who will do the work, who will be assigned to what, and it does ask us to have kind of a good old list of phone numbers and contacts. So those are not public. We do have them in safe and secure locations, and we would recommend adoption.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council discussion?
Important stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad this is in place, especially based on what our sister city of Middletown's going through. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution is adopted. Ms. Barb, if you will read the next resolution.
A resolution approving the contract between the City of Oxford, Ohio, and the Oxford Police Sergeants and Lieutenants Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 38, detailed in Exhibit A, and authorizing the city manager to sign the contract.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor French, second by Mr. Snavely, and I'll come back to Assistant City Manager Green.
Thank you. I'm going to speak to both contracts with one staff report since they're very similar. I'm proud to bring before you a proposed contract. We have concluded our negotiations with both the patrol and sergeant and lieutenant unions. And I think we really acted in good faith and with respect of both sides. And I think we have a strong proposal for a 3-year contract before you. We found in our analysis that we have strong pay for officers when they're hired, but that we were slipping as they advance through steps. And so this wage proposal, we believe, brings us back into alignment. Our wage proposal is 5% year 1, 4% in year 2, and 4% in year 3. We did also adjusted steps where we lowered an entry-level person who does not have certification to 80% of top pay. And then to address retention, we added more senior steps of 102% of pay with 5 years of experience and 104% of pay with 8 years experience. Other economic ones include, let me get my talking points here, is we did increase shift supervisor pay. We allowed an increase in carryover vacation hours. We did add a sick leave cash out conversion upon retirement of 1 to 4 conversion rate with a max payout of 300 hours. We changed the longevity to be a flat rate and it will not roll into base pay. We did add a provision for tuition. We have kind of a lump sum that will be set aside for educational attainment that officers can use to pursue degrees. And if they would leave within 2 years, we ask them to pay that back. Healthcare, we changed from a fixed rate to a percentage-based of the patrol pay. We also said that if we pay for the police academy for a new applicant and they leave the city, that there would be a tiered repayback period. We also changed the detective on-call pay for patrol to $625 and sergeant for $750 to be paid quarterly, and this also no longer rolled into base pay. In the non-economic areas, we did make some update to overtime language. It used to be that there was like a point structure for overtime because it was competitive. Now overtime is largely assigned, and so we kind of took out that language. We added some provisions for training on off-site. We added provisions for keeping your weapon and badge if you retire after 10 years. We did change the discipline that if after a suspension of 3 or fewer days, and no subsequent behavior issues for 5 years, as the suspension could be removed from the personnel record and could not be used in progressive discipline. However, if any discipline occurs in that 5-year period, the record would remain. And then finally, the non-economic is that the requirement for a notary for a complaint against an officer has been removed. That's kind of the high-level summary. We did talk in detail during the executive session, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this resolution before council?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Jeff Robinson, as part of the Sergeants and Lieutenants Bargaining Unit. Representatives, just some thanks to our bargaining team, Sergeant Jenkins, Sergeant Poole, for stepping up and taking part in those negotiations. I want to thank our FOP attorney, Kevin Dinkelhocker. Did a great job for us this year, and I think did an outstanding job of working with City's Council, Mr. Mazur, on getting some of our concerns, taking kind of the emotion out of things and getting those two together and actually hashing the items out. So kudos to both the attorneys for working hard on this contract. With that, the city's team, they allowed for understanding of what our needs were in order to remain competitive in the Butler County market. Also listening to the unit's concerns. As we work through this contract, times have certainly changed in the past 20 years that I've been here, in the past 15 on this bargaining contract, and a lot of those needs have changed over the years. So we appreciate their willingness to listen to those needs and hear us out as we went through the process. And then, like I said, just willingness to work through that process. I've been a part of a number of negotiating teams since I've been here, and I think this one went about as smooth as any of other ones I've done. Our team was pretty happy that we were able to do this and save from going to further litigation as has happened in the past. So kudos to both the city's team and the FOP bargaining unit for kind of sticking to it and put the nose to grindstone and hammering these things out. It lasted a few long hours, but we got it done. Just a couple comments on the contract. It allows us to stay competitive with the other agencies in Butler County. Kind of speaking to the patrol contract a little bit while I'm up here. We've lost people, we've lost officers to other agencies within this county, and some of the things that we hear from them are, better terms with the contracts, better pay, better financial packages, things along the way that just make other agencies sound better to them at that point in their career. For the supervisors, it recognizes the training, knowledge, and skills that we send our supervisors to. I'll put our supervisors up against anybody in the county. We require them to do some very high-level training that is not seen around Butler County at the sergeant level, and then at the lieutenant level, we're afforded the opportunity to hit some pretty high-level experiences to bring that back to the city. For the patrol, it brings a great tool to the recruitment team. As they go out and they meet with recruitment fairs and job fairs around the region, not just in Butler County, but really around the region in Ohio. We compete against every other agency, and everybody's got a booth there, from state and local to federal agencies, and this really brings a good tool to them that they can hopefully recruit quality applicants to go through a process to be hired. But finally, it's going to provide a long-term value to the officers that we have here now. And hopefully, as they age in their career, they become more trained. The compensation jumps up with that training, with that experience, and will be that nugget that helps keep people here. We laugh kind of in the office about it, but it's almost become the portal that you see in college football in the police world, because they're comparing what they get somewhere else, and they may see the grass is greener, and they jump and they say, hey, we can go over here and make however much more, or we get this package that's a little bit better, or we have this perk that's a little bit better. And I think this will help with recruitment and kind of take that element out of discussion when we're talking with our seasoned veterans that are with the department. So again, we strive to retain the people that we have. We invest a lot of money in training and equipment and getting our people the right tools they need to do the job. So I think this is a good investment by the city to keep on par with that and keep our officers happy. So again, thank you to everybody who's involved with the process, and thank you for your consideration tonight on the contract.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address this resolution before council? All right, council discussion?
JJ.
Sorry, Chief, come on up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Jeff said most of what I wanted to say, but I'll say it from the city side. I think this was great to get one done before the actual end of the contract. That's not happened since I've been here, at least in this role. So I think everybody put a lot of effort into it. I think there's a lot of effort that goes into it that you can't see. So thanks to the bargaining unit members on both the patrol side and the supervisor side. I do think that this will help us with that recruiting and retention issue. It just gives us something that we don't have to worry about. There's other factors, obviously, that come in, but this is a notch to help us with that. And we want to attract the best candidates for our police department. Our guys do a good job, and we want the best candidate out there serving the public. So thank you to the bargaining teams, to the attorneys, to the city manager, and obviously to council too, if you pass this resolution. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now some council discussion.
I'm happy to jump in. Thank you to Chief Jones and Lieutenant Robinson for kind of voicing that perspective, because from our perspective, it sounds like it did go really well, which we're thrilled to hear. I think something that really stood out for me is that kind of middle spot is a tough spot to be in. For my own work as well, we kind of idle out at that middle zone, and keeping people in and building on that experience and institutional knowledge is really critical. So not just about attracting the best new candidates, but really maintaining and retaining the incredible talent that we do have. I've been able to see what learning about the community looks like and being involved in the community looks like. So for our officers to be able to stay and have it be incentivized to stay is really great. So yes, thank you to all the bargaining teams. This is really great, and I'm excited to see this contract. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd echo all those sentiments. Well said.
I think we all do. Very well
I
done.
think it's struck the right balance between incentivizing the officers we have to stay and encouraging new officers, and then also the piece about the notarized complaints. I think is something that we're talking about in the community for a while, and it brings our department in line with other departments in Butler County, and so I'm proud of the work that our officers are doing, and I don't think emotion's a bad thing necessarily, but it can sometimes override making good decisions, and I'm glad that everyone was able to keep a level head and get to yes. So congratulations and thank you.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. All right, Ms. Barber, if you will read the next resolution.
A resolution approving the contract between the City of Oxford, Ohio, and the Oxford Police Officers Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 38, detailed in Exhibit A, and authorizing the city manager to sign the contract.
All right, motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor French, second by Councilor Snavely, and we're back to,
This contract is for the sergeants and lieutenants, but my staff report is substantively the same, so I have really no further comments.
all right.
Wait,
Oh.
it is,
The other one was, this is police officers. This is police officers.
mine's in a different order, and I'm really sorry.
Oh.
This is for, oops, ignore what I just said. But my staff report is still the same.
Okay. Let me ask if there's anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council.
I'm Jeff once again. I just incorporate everything I said, but really for the patrol unit, they are the backbone of policing. We don't get to say it enough. Well, I get a cool office and get to stay in the temperature-controlled environment a lot of the times. These guys are the backbone. They're the ones that do the work, and I think we don't say it enough. We don't say thank you to them enough. And I just again reiterate everything I just said in the prior resolution. But I wanted to thank them and just remind you that they are the backbone. They are the community of policing that is out on our streets today. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any of you are welcome to come up and say something, but you don't have to. All right, just wanted to let you know. All right. Council discussion?
I would just like to say that I thought the comments that Lieutenant Robinson just gave are appropriate because I think we have an incredible staff of police officers. And we're extremely lucky in a small town like this to have such a dedicated and professional group of police officers. I think they're the best. So I'm happy to support this contract.
Yeah,
I
would
agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I agree, 100%. Anytime I've had any interactions with our police, they've always been good, either in an emergency situation or out in a big crowd and interacting with people. I just really appreciate that very much. Thank you.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't also extend thanks for carting around a nerd from council at least 3 times in less than 6 months. So, thank you.
Then I'm just going to echo that. I tell other cities all the time that I will stack my officers up against anybody, anywhere, and find them to be better. So we do appreciate you all. We really do. All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution is adopted. All right, Ms. Barber, if you will read the next resolution.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement with CSX Transportation Incorporated as described in Exhibit A for the purpose of installing and maintaining a new Amtrak passenger platform.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor French, second by Mr. Snavely. Ms. Green.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and councilors again. For several years, the City of Oxford and Miami University have been working together to try to bring an Amtrak passenger rail service to Oxford, Ohio. The proposed Amtrak platform location lies within the railroad right-of-way owned by CSX, and because of this, they control the corridor, and the construction and operation of the platform requires a formal lease agreement granting the city access to use this property. Miami University has agreed to assist with half of this lease and future maintenance costs associated with the Amtrak platform. The key lease terms are an initial term of 20 years and thereafter year to year unless terminated by either party. Annually, or the first year, is $7,300 with an annual escalation of 2% throughout the initial term and any year-to-year extensions. Our responsibility would be the installation and construction of any and all improvements with the Amtrak platform, including installation, utilities, something I clicked from the lease, and then any other required to meet the CSX standards, and then a maintenance for future ongoing maintenance, repair, and upkeep of the area. We are required to obtain and maintain insurance and coverage required by CSX, and they must be listed as a co-insured and additional insured on all applicable policies for the duration of the lease. We do recommend approval of this lease so that we can advance with our Amtrak platform project.
All right, is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council discussion?
Is the lease terminable by either of the parties during the initial 20-year term? Or is it not able to be terminated?
And yes, either party could terminate the lease with notice per the terms of the lease. But this is a standard lease agreement between Amtrak and CSX that we're now entering into.
So that there's really no room to negotiate and something like this, right? Yeah, right. Okay.
I tried for like a year and then.
That's good enough.
All right, I think there are no further questions. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, that resolution is adopted. All right, Ms. Barber, you may read the next resolution.
Resolution authorizing the city manager and the law director to sign the amended subgrant agreement detailed in Exhibit A between Butler County, Ohio, and the city of Oxford for $1 million of American Rescue Plan Act state and local fiscal recovery funds to assist with affordable housing infrastructure as allocated by the Butler County Board of Commissioners.
All right, motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor French, second by Councilor Snavely. All right. We'll come back to Jessica.
Yes, we have an existing sub-grant agreement with the Butler County Butler County Commissioners for $1 million for use for affordable housing infrastructure. $500,000 was allocated to Habitat, and $500,000 was allocated to previously the community development professionals. Since that time, we have withdrawn our support for the community development professionals project and have pivoted to inclusive housing resources and Empower Me. When I informed the county about this, they wanted to formally update our sub-grant agreement. And so this does just update our relationship with Inclusive Housing Resources and Empower Me for the second $500,000. All funds must be fully expended by September 30th, 2026.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council questions and discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When is Habitat planning to get started?
I actually just had a meeting with Habitat last week, and they have a phased approach that they have proposed to Welcome Home Ohio, which is another grant source that we have. I do believe they intend to begin infrastructure installation in late January, early February, with the goal of building the first 10 homes this summer, and then over the next 2 years, then completing the additional 26 homes. So it'll take about 2 years to fully build out the 32 homes total.
Thank you.
So is there a similar schedule for inclusive housing resources?
So Inclusive Housing Resources is on a little bit of a tighter pinch for the infrastructure funds. They are going through the Planning Commission process now, which will be in January. And then we hope to bring to council, hopefully, a package for a review and hopefully vote in February, which would then allow for them to get started in March. And so then they intend to kind of start right away in March with their infrastructure, and then they would build their homes after that.
I am so excited for this.
Yeah, it is exciting.
All I have to say.
This is central to council's goals.
Yeah.
And we appreciate
They're
staff.
two great projects.
Yeah, and we
And thank you to the
appreciate
county
staff's
commissioners for
cooperation.
their support as well.
Absolutely.
Do we have any idea what I read that they're proposing to build tiny homes. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so, there's two projects. The Habitat for Humanity are attached townhome. They're gonna be 3 or 4 bedroom and have basements. And then, and that's gonna be 32 units of townhomes. The Inclusive Housing Resources Empower Me partnership is, they're aiming to propose 16 micro homes, which I believe are between 400 and 700 square feet. Did I get it right? And they're gonna be like very close together, but single family dwellings that are 1 and 2 bedroom. They're pretty cute, little micro homes.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, that resolution is adopted. All right, Ms. Barber, you may read the next one.
A resolution authorizing the reallocation of $20,000 of the city's American Rescue Plan funds to Habitat for Humanity of Greater Cincinnati for the construction of housing.
Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
All right. Motion by Vice Mayor French, second by Mrs. Ornelas, and I'll come back to.
Good evening. I'm going to stand here tonight. So when we had allocated some of, these are our ARPA funds. And Sam, when he first did the code read-write contract, he renegotiated it and we got $20,000 back. We need to reallocate that to a pre-existing vendor that we have, knowing that Habitat has cost overruns. They had to redo their whole sewer plan and stuff like that. We recommend giving this $20,000 to Habitat for their infrastructure.
All right, is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council questions and discussion?
This is a great idea. Let's get this Habitat
Yes.
project and the other one going, and I think this is and I think the sewer problems were very unfortunate,
Yeah.
and we'll just leave it at that.
All right. Good. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution is adopted. All right, Ms. Barber, you may read our next resolution.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Milford Township, Butler County, Ohio, and authorizing the City of Oxford to provide emergency medical services to the western portion of Milford Township pursuant to the agreement.
Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Adopted by Vice Mayor French, second by Mr. Snavely. Mr. Elliott?
So the City of Oxford provides EMS services to the western portion of Milford Township under contract. The current agreement expires at the end of this year, 12/31. And we met with them when we negotiated the last contract. The current contract provides for a payment of $60,000 to the City of Oxford. When we met with them, we said that's still not your fair share. They, at that time, stated they would put a levy on the ballot, which was on this November ballot. It was a levy for 1.85 mils, 5-year additional property tax levy, and it passed. It passed 56 to 44%, 56 for, 44% against. So we began negotiating a new agreement right after that passed, and we knew it passed. So we have before you tonight a new agreement, a 5-year agreement, and the payment would be, the annual amount that is, would be $225,800. I believe this is a fair share, which they were not paying at $60,000. For example, Oxford Township, where we provide both fire and EMS services, we're paying $200,000 a year. And of course, Milford, the western portion, had more than the calls that Oxford Township had. So we needed for them to step up to the plate and pay their fair share amount. So this represents that, and I'm recommending that council adopt this resolution this evening.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right. Seeing none, council questions and discussion?
Just grateful to the voters of Millville for supporting
Milford.
this.
Milford.
Milford, sorry, for supporting this, and so that we can continue this partnership.
Yeah, yeah.
So just curious how the $225,000 amount was arrived at. Is it like covering our cost? Basically?
Good question.
That's it?
Basically, the way I've been calculating these fair shares is we look at our revenue and basically our expenditures. We take the revenue that we're receiving from EMS billing and subtract that from the total expenditures, let's say in 2024. So we get an amount that's not covered by the EMS billing. And if you take that amount times the percentage of calls that this jurisdiction has, you come up with that amount. Now, of course, within that 5 years, we're going to be adding staff, we're going to be buying equipment, our costs are going to go up. But this is a 5-year agreement, and at the end of 5 years, we'll have to negotiate a new agreement. But they've definitely stepped up to the plate from $60,000 to $225,000. So that's how we calculate it. We've done that for years with Oxford Township. We've been doing it with Milford Township as well, and then each year I kept saying, you're not paying your fair share, you need to step up to the plate, which they've finally done.
Good result.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution is adopted. All right, Ms. Barber, you may read the next one.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Malink Solar for a solar PV system at the wastewater treatment plant.
Motion to adopt?
Move adoption. Thank you for letting me do that.
Second?
Second.
All right. And I'll come back to Mr. Elliott.
All right, so the city released in October RFP for a design build services to construct a 1 megawatt AC solar PV system at our wastewater treatment plant. The facility is the city's largest electricity user, used a total of 2.3 megawatt hours in 2024, with an average monthly demand of just over 460 kilowatt hours. So proposals were due in November. We received 5 proposals. We scored those proposals. We then interviewed the 2 highest scoring proposals. And as a result of that, city staff and myself are recommending Malink Solar as the lowest and best bidder. We have on the agenda tonight a resolution to authorize me to sign a contract with Malink Solar for $2.6 million. Actually, it's a little less than that because I put the actual amount that was in their proposal. But as you know, we have in our appropriation 2.6 plus 200,000. So the contract will be for the specified amount that's listed in the resolution. It's estimated that this system will offset 76% of our facilities' annual electric consumption. We plan to utilize investment tax credits, the direct pay provision of those tax credits that could provide a reimbursement of up to 30 to 40% of our capital cost. The payback period is estimated at just under 8 years, with an annual electricity cost escalation of 6.6%. So I'm recommending that you authorize that, and I'm pleased to bring this forward to council tonight.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council discussion, questions?
I would just like to thank staff for moving forward on this project. Not only is it important for our goals of council, which have to do with this issue, but it also not only pays off in 8 years, but it will be there for many years afterwards. And so it's really cost-effective in very many ways. And I'm just really glad that we can do that, and I hope that we can do the landfill next.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does the contract with Melnick include any sort of service provisions? Like, are they required to maintain or provide some sort of warranty service for a period of time, or any sort of services as part
The
of the
contract doesn't include that, but we could consider that later. This project is estimated to be done by the end of next year. Several of the companies provided proposals on that, but we did not include that in this agreement. This is a design-build agreement that we're signing.
Okay, so
There is a 1-year warranty
Oh, there is?
on the equipment, yeah.
Okay, but if we need service, we have to pay for that on our...
Yes,
All right.
additional cost. And they will provide training for our staff as well. So, the modules have, I believe, a longer period of warranty.
I am so excited for this. The two biggest things that I ran on, core values, were basic needs, especially around housing, and we're in a housing crisis nationally, and we're adding possibly 50-plus units and working on more, hopefully. And now we made a big step, as long as this goes forward without a hiccup, in addressing the other one, which was our portion of climate change and beyond. I'm so happy about this, and if we end up getting the rest of it, 5 megawatts on the closed landfill, all my hopes and dreams will have been met, and I will be so thankful. I already am thankful. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to this, and it is economically viable, especially with what's expected to happen with electricity prices going forward in general, but also because of data centers. And we're going to have this paid off with 20-plus years of our electricity use covered, basically, or very close to it. That's likely a very good deal.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that resolution is adopted as well. All right, you may read the last resolution of the night.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to request advance payment of property taxes to the city in 2026 from Butler County.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Motion by Vice Mayor French, second by Mr. Snavely, and we will go to Mrs. Ridenhour.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. I've brought before you tonight a resolution to request that Butler County remit 2026 property taxes, which they've already received, to the city earlier than their standard pay date, which is usually around March or April. The early payment request can accelerate the receiving of a portion of the taxes. In order to qualify for the early advance, the county requires the passage of a resolution every year.
All right, is there anyone from the public who would like to address this resolution before council? All right, seeing none, council questions and discussion? All right, this just gets our money quicker, so.
Show me the money.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, that is adopted. We will move on to ordinances. We have one first reading tonight. Ms. Barber, you may read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending salaries and certain benefits for salaried and hourly, full-time and part-time employees within the service of the City of Oxford, Ohio, paid from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026.
All right, Assistant City Manager Green.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. With the adoption of the police and sergeant lieutenant collective bargaining agreements, the city intends to share the same cost of living adjustment and benefits with other non-contract employees. This amended salary ordinance will match the 5% cost of living adjustment given to the police union members for non-contract staff. This amended ordinance also provides for the sick leave cash out upon retirement provision for non-contract staff at a rate of 1 to 4 of accumulated but unearned sick leave with a maximum of 300 hours to cash out upon retirement. All other items remain the same. We recommend adoption.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this ordinance before council? All right, seeing none. Council questions and discussion? All right, this is a first reading, so we will see this again at the first meeting in January. All right, we'll go on to second readings. Ms. Barber, you may read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 3783, supplemental budget ordinance number 9, to make supplemental appropriations for fiscal year 2025.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor French, second by Mr. Snavely. Ms. Breitnauer?
I don't have any changes from the first reading of the ordinance on December 2nd.
All right. Anyone from the public who would like to address this ordinance before council?
Yes, Ms. Councilor Bracken asked me to clarify the resolution that was passed in December. Let me get this right. It was passed in December of 2024, stating that if we met our obligation to Enjoy Oxford and if we met our obligation to the Economic Development Fund, and there was additional between the periods of January 1 and November 30th, that any additional would go to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We did not meet that obligation. And so I wrote that in an email, and so we've not yet met that obligation, and so the funds will not be transferred to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund at this time.
Do we know how close we were to that?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, sorry.
All right. All right, I am seeing no one from the public who would like to address this ordinance, so I will go to any final questions or discussion from council.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I'd like this resolution to continue that we had that's about to end. And if it could be long-term, that would be better. But also, we got to get a sense of how much money, if any, will ever come from this and go into the Housing Trust Fund. And if we don't have an answer coming from this, we need to get it from someplace else. Because we have that there, and we're doing great work. I mentioned the 50 units, like, that's amazing. But also, we set up this fund for that purpose. And we have housing needs that we're contributing to with TOPS. So having a consistent revenue to sustain the things we care about in terms of housing, addressing homelessness, we need a funding source. And I hope this can come about going forward, and that might mean me bringing similar legislation again.
I will join you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Barber, would you call the roll?
Mr. Snavely?
Yes.
Mr. Vinch?
Yes.
Mr. Bracken?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. French?
Yes.
Ms. Ornelas?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes. All right. That ordinance is adopted. We will now move on to announcements and communications. Start with Mr. Elliott.
Thank you. I just have 2 items for this evening. As you know, we have 2 adult use dispensaries located within our corporate boundaries. And amended Senate Bill 56 has been adopted by both houses of the Ohio Legislature. It provides for an appropriation to the host communities at 36% of the 10% excise tax. The bill has been sent to the governor. He has stated that he will sign it. Now, it has to deal with other things, but our focus is on this distribution of the money they've been collecting. The Host Community Cannabis Fund has over $28 million waiting to be distributed. So hopefully, after the first of the year, we'll finally see some of that money. So I'm pleased to share that with you. Annexation, I received a phone call from Judy Boyko, who is the Butler County City Administrator this evening. They County Commissioners has approved the Miami University annexation petition for the 157 acres of land, the remaining portion of the Miami University Airport outside the city's corporate boundaries. So I believe the statute states that after we receive the certified copy, we have to wait 60 days, and I'll be bringing into City Council an ordinance to accept that petition. And 30 days after council adopts that ordinance, it'll become effective. So we are moving forward finally on that annexation petition. That's all I have this evening.
All right. Mr. Dreisbach?
Nothing tonight.
Chief Jones?
Just wanted to provide an update. Well, first of all, thank you for passing the contracts. That went much better than the last time we brought contracts here. But I wanted to provide an update on a goal that we've had for a while, and finally just getting it completed. We've really had it completed, but never had submitted the paperwork to the International Association of Chiefs of Police. It's called the One Mind campaign, and I know Councilor Franklin, we talked about this, I think back maybe even when you were on PCRC. But the One Mind campaign seeks to ensure successful interactions between law enforcement and individuals with mental health conditions. And so there's a lot of different steps you have to do as an organization to complete that campaign. And we took that pledge a while ago, and like I said, we finally just got our certification back. And some of those practices include establishing a clearly defined partnership with one or more community health organizations, and they want to see your memorandum of understanding with those organizations, developing and implementing a policy addressing law enforcement response to individuals with mental health conditions, training and certifying 100% of your sworn officers in mental health first aid, and then providing training for crisis intervention team training for at least 20% of your sworn staff. So we've had those completed, but just finally got the certificate, and we'll do like a a Facebook or a press announcement on it. But I think again that just points to the good work our officers do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a
Yes,
question?
sir.
Do we have plans to extend past the 20%?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, we have gone past, and now that we've hired new staff, part of our training plan for 2026, while they receive some in the basic training, the basic academy, crisis intervention, we'll need to do more mental health first aid training, and we have to recertify that every 3 years. So it's an ongoing effort. And yes, we have gone past, like for instance, we train our dispatchers, we have of course, our social services liaison, and so we kind of go above and beyond that. The crisis intervention training is a little more in-depth, and yes, we are over our 20%, but that's more involved training, but we try to send one officer each year to that at least, so, yeah.
That's fantastic, and also everybody was speaking to how great our force is.
Yeah.
This is an example of
Yeah.
that. So
Thank you, appreciate that, yeah.
All right, it's right now. Chief Deathridge? All right. Schmidt?
Evening, Mayor, councilors. Want to notify you of something that did not make my staff report, but I thought it pertinent to share with you. So the City of Oxford Parks and Rec Department is among several other park agencies in Butler County who had partnered recently with the Butler County Mental Health and Addiction Recovery Services Board for suicide prevention signage to be placed in parks, specifically remote parks. Through this new campaign with that organization, they have a fully staffed call center with a direct line and local coverage for that. So we've placed the sign at Mary Day Park, also at Leonard Howe. And we have the opportunity to get more signs in subsequent years. But wanted to bring this up only because we think that's a great program, great resource to provide the community. We were happy to be a part of it. But it sounds like there'll be a press release in the very near future about this. So I did want to bring it to your attention, and I'm happy to work with this great organization and some of our other partners and other park agencies around the county.
All right, that's fantastic. Mr. Perry? Ms. Green? Ms. Barber?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Major?
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody involved with the negotiation of the police contracts, Jessica, Chief Jones, Doug, and the union bargaining team. I think really both sides can be very proud, I think, of the final terms that were agreed upon, and thank you to council for passing those contracts.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Snavely?
Is staff going to give some kind of response to the gentleman who came here? And I appreciate you coming to council. I know it's very difficult, but I think he deserves to get some kind of response.
Well, I didn't get an envelope. I think we'll review that and we'll get back to him.
Okay. I just think at least the legal aspects of that, would you respond to him?
I'd be happy to if you'd want me to. I think, from a legal standpoint, there is an Ohio Supreme Court case that addresses a property owner is only potentially liable for exacerbating dangerous conditions. So essentially, a property owner that uses reasonable care to shovel their sidewalk and clear ice and snow, they should not be subject to any potential premises liability. However, if a property owner does not use reasonable care and creates or exacerbates dangerous conditions when shoveling snow or ice, there's the potential for liability. There are numerous municipalities in Ohio that have passed their own ordinances that require property owners to maintain sidewalks in their property to ensure that they're safe. So that's not unusual. That is an authority or power that municipalities have under home rule. So that is a proper exercise of home rule authority to have ordinances that require property owners to reasonably maintain their property.
Okay. I just think that it's a very reasonable ordinance that we have. I was heartened to see how many people in our community, people who are not in the area that would be fined, but still understood that it was their reasonable duty to clear those sidewalks. And I think about all the people who are disabled in our community and who rely on moving on sidewalks. And I think that what the citizens have done in our community is to be commended in helping those people be able to be functional after a snow emergency. So I think that for landowners, I would say that you're probably in one of the most profitable businesses in Oxford, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to either make sure that it's cleaned or the city will do it for you. And so there's a lot of people, I think, who would be glad to be paid by the hour to clean those sidewalks. And I think we should do whatever we can to make those names of those individuals available to members of the public who are owners of property and may not be able or in any case, unwilling for a good reason to clear their sidewalks. I would like to commend the city, again, the service department. Your staff just did a really great job. And having to take my wife to surgery in Cincinnati right after that happened, I have to say that it was amazing how much better Oxford was than any place else we traveled. And so I appreciate that quite a bit. The last comment is I'm chagrined to read about the shooting in Australia at Bondi Beach. It took place in places that many of us have been, and I was standing right where a lot of that happened many years ago, but it was just horrific. And then we had shootings here at Brown University, and shootings where Oxford residents and graduates of Talawanda High School go to school at Brown University. And so it touches here at home as well, and one of those is somebody that I've known since she was a baby. And then we have a senseless murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. You know, violence is never a good answer to your grievances and your upset you're being upset about anything. And we just have to get to a better place in our community and in our lives. I'm glad that it hasn't happened in Oxford the way it has happened elsewhere. I think we need to remain vigilant, and I think we need to help one another and find constructive ways to deal with grievance and to deal with mental illness as well. And so I pray for all of those people, and I know that the rest of the community does as well.
All right. Mr. Vinch?
So I want to support what Councilor Snavely had to say about the snow removal ordinance. I think that there's an admirable purpose behind the ordinance. Having spent my entire career doing compliance work for the Environmental Protection Agency in DC, I know compliance is not like flipping a light switch, right? You can't expect 100% compliance on day one. Compliance involves more than issuing fines or citations. It involves educating the public. And I think over time, with more education and more understanding on both sides, I think the citizens of Oxford will come to accept the snow removal ordinance as just part of their lives, just like they have the obligation to mow their lawns, right? If their lawns grow too long, the city will probably cite them for a nuisance. And so they have to mow their lawn, whether they're able to do it themselves or they have to hire somebody to do it. I will leave it to the city attorney to decide the liability issue, although as an attorney myself, I tend to agree with what he said about the liability issues. I'm not too concerned about snow shovelers who use reasonable care in shoveling their sidewalks being excluded from liability under Ohio law. But I just want to, again, voice my support for the snow removal ordinance. Thank you.
Vice Mayor French?
Thank you. Yes, Mike and team, congratulations again on another successful round of snow removal, and so fast. We've had so much snow this December, which has been really pretty, but not without its pains. Yeah, Bill, thank you for bringing that up. I had coworkers, for those who may not know, I work at an organization that was founded due to the tragedy in Sandy Hook, Connecticut, which was 13 years ago. So we were closed yesterday in remembrance of that, but I had coworkers who had to go into work to do rapid response for our organization to release a statement about the Brown shooting, which is really terrible. We're also not far from the Parkland anniversary as well, and I'm familiar with one of the students who survived not only Parkland, but now the Brown shooting. So that's rough, to put it mildly. But to bring it to a local place, I am so proud of the work that we do in both upstream violence prevention. Chief, what you just talked about is integral to ways to prevent violence from happening in a community. Organizations like the Coalition for Healthy Communities, working with TOPS, what we do as a city is truly baked in preventing violence here in the way that we work to make sure people feel seen, that they feel included in the communities, events that OPRD does. They give space for people to feel connected and feel welcomed here, and that stuff absolutely matters. And then we're not without doing downstream violence prevention and preparedness. The ordinance or the resolution we just approved about the barriers to make sure that our public events are safe. I'm not saying that it works 100% of the time every time, but that stuff also helps. So for us to be able to do that combination of upstream and downstream violence prevention really matters. Because of what I do, I think about mass casualty events all the time. And I usually don't think about them when I'm at Oktoberfest or I'm at the Beef Festival. And that's not, I think about it every time I go to a movie theater, and I think about it so rarely when I go uptown. And that's because of the work that we do here. And Officer Hartwig was here today earlier, and when I did my first ride-along, she and I talked about what I do for work, and she showed me the go bag. And she was like, do you know what a go bag is? And I said, no. And she showed me all of the pieces of equipment, and we talked through all of the training that they do and that Chief Jones, you have your staff do. So I just, in the face of endlessly frustrating events where kids elementary through college should not have to deal with this. We as adults shouldn't have to deal with this. I am immensely and ceaselessly proud of our community and everything that we do and how relentlessly our staff works to keep us safe in every way. So thank you so much.
Councilor Franklin?
Yes, congratulations, Chief Jones and OPD for getting that One Mind certification. It's been a while, I think. We've been talking about, you've been working on this for a while, so congratulations. And then Chad, thank you for the work you're doing to just let the community know about resources available for suicide prevention. I was listening to Scott Galloway on a podcast talking about the challenges for everyone with suicide, but young men in particular. I think 4 out of 5 suicides are young men. And so any time we can just make the broader public aware of services and help that's there, I think that's a good thing. And then to Mike, thank you for the work that the service department has done. So I had the misfortune of my final exam being on a Friday, right, of the semester. And I wasn't thinking about it at all on Thursday, but some of my students came up to me and said, Dr. Franklin, there's going to be some snow and we're worried about driving in. And, technology, like, it's a great thing, but sometimes it's just like, can you put it online or can you? So I put the exam online, but also told the students I'd be there in person for those who wanted to take it in class. But what they said, if we lived in Oxford, we know the roads would be passable and clear, but some of us are commuting and have to go through other municipalities to get to Oxford, and we can't trust that those areas will be as clear. So they even recognize the good work that Oxford does in making the roads as clear as possible when we have a snowstorm. So thank you.
I was going to address the snow shoveling issue as well. I just wanted to point out that it's not new for us. We have different enforcement rules, but this has been around for a while. Every major city in Ohio has similar rules: Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, Youngstown, Akron, Springfield, Sandusky. I can keep going. This is not unusual. Everything I've read about the legal matters are that you have to be negligent, create a worse situation, basically knowingly. You can't be performing normal duties that improve the condition or are trying to, and be held liable for that. And in fact, even under conditions where you didn't touch it, if you were negligent to, for example, water running off your house from a spout, you'd also be liable in that situation. So it's contextual in which you're liable, but any normal duty that isn't negligent, you should not be held accountable for somebody who's injured. And we had our guest here mention that you recently went through a broken hip, which I know is horrible. I've had family members go through that same thing, and that's one of the things we're trying to avoid by not having shoveled sidewalks. We want people to functionally move about the city. And so I hope we can get there as a community, but also I'm currently working on a couple things. One is a public list of resources with prices too, and so people have resources available, and also trying to help some of our seniors, those who also might have funding issues or on a set income and suddenly have new costs to cover. And hopefully I'll bring them forward. They're probably not going to go through the city, though they may, but I'll make those sources available publicly soon. Thank you.
Councilor Ornelas?
I echo what everyone has said so far regarding the violence and the snow. But one of the things that hasn't been mentioned that I experienced, and I think a lot of others experienced in the city, was the generosity of people over this weekend. And the response in my neighborhood was incredible. Someone came through the entire neighborhood, both sides of the street, and removed the snow. And for all you kids out there looking for some extra cash, I want to encourage you to pick up a shovel and a couple of your friends and get out there and help your neighbors. And I know that some of the kids that I know who are teenagers did that in their own neighborhoods. So that's Oxford, as one of my friends told me. The generosity of this community never ceases to amaze me. So to that person who shoveled my front sidewalk, thank you, whoever you are.
Sorry, I usually don't do this, but I totally forgot. Chief Deathridge, thank you for sending that very kind comment from the community member. Chief Deathridge's crew got a shout out from a community member for their quick action and how impactful it was in saving a citizen's life. So in my many thanks, I was super remiss to not give a huge shout out to you and your crew. So thank you for sharing that with us.
We should throw a parade every time a life is saved.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep this short. But I did a little research, and our ordinance about snow shoveling, about keeping your sidewalks, curbs, and gutters in good repair and free from snow and ice or any nuisance, is based on the Ohio Revised Code that was passed by the 104th General Assembly on January 1st, 1962. So again, nothing new, but I'm just going to remind everybody how we got here. That back last year in January and February, our sidewalks were so impassable that older folks and disabled folks and school children were having to walk in the road, even more dangerous than an unshoveled sidewalk. And that's where this all came from. After I myself almost hit people on North 27 walking in the street after dark. We realize that this is probably not a perfect system, and we'll keep working on it. And we just want people to keep working with us, and we'll do the best we can. And I think participation so far has been outstanding, and we're going to keep trying to make it better. Lastly, tonight, on a sad note, Diane Ruther-Vierling died suddenly on December 10th. Longtime director of the Family Resource Center, now TOPS, and most recently a founding member of Oxford Area Solutions for Housing. Her knowledge of Oxford's underserved population was immeasurable, and she will be greatly missed. So with that, if I could have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, shock.
Good to see you, Jim.
Good to see you too.
I don't know
Especially
any of the circumstances. That came in like a one-line item in the last OSH newsletter saying we weren't going to have a meeting on Monday.
And also, when's the last time she was at OSH? Not long ago, right? This isn't.
Yeah, it was very sudden. I don't know what happened. It was very sudden.
Also, just looking through what we discussed tonight as part of the normal agenda, we absolutely have amazing, so much.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I come in here